Welcome to Module 2 on Bhakti. Bhakti is a beautiful Sanskrit word that, most simply defined, means devotion. It is a practice where one commits oneself, tethers oneself to worship of a particular deity. It's typically deity practice. And within the tantric tradition, there is this really wonderful pantheon of deities that represent aspects of lived experience. And so this is something that I've found to be really crucial and that I get really excited to impart. None of these deities are separate from us. And I think that there can be a lot of inhibition around engaging deity practice for those of us who are raised in a Judeo-Christian culture. It can feel so foreign because these ceremonies and rituals are so elaborate. But what is so exquisite about it is that these elaborate celebrations and ritualized forms of worship are essentially worship of the self, worship of the human being, worship of our capacity to flash like lightning, to flood like torrential downpour, to transform, to sustain, to be rich and effulgent and alive with erotic energy. My experience of deity practice has been so rich and fulfilling. It's one of my favorite things to share. And for this module, we're going to be working with the deity Kali for several reasons. She's my chosen deity, the one that I practice with and feel I know most intimately. It's one of those sort of cheesy things where I feel as though Kali chose me. And when working with these energies, I think that there's something really beautiful about introducing yourself to multiple expressions of life force, obviously, so that we don't get just sort of handed a practice and we take that for granted. This relationship that I've developed with Kali over the years certainly came out of an instinct, a resonance with her and the way she expresses herself and her nuance. And also it was within the context of a larger course in which I was exposed to 10 different aspects of the divine feminine. And so I encourage you to go out there and do your research and do other courses and experience these goddesses. Maybe you want to go to the goddess cleanse next and work a little more specifically with Durga and Saraswati and Lakshmi. But the goddess Kali, for those of you who know her, is ferocity incarnate. And what's really interesting to me, what has kept me coming back again and again and again to her, is this sort of fixation on the ferocity as difficulty, as calamity, and just getting kind of stuck there. So, most people who share about Kali, who talk about Kali, who invoke Kali, it's always in the context of things are a total mess. Things are, shit has hit the fan. I feel like things are breaking. And that's not inaccurate. It's simply incomplete. So one of the best metaphors or analogies that I've ever heard to teach me about what is the true Shakti or power of the goddess Kali is childbirth. Now this is so fantastic. Whether you've given birth or not, there is an awareness, a clear awareness and understanding of childbirth as a primal, ferocious, difficult passage. There's no denying that. There's pain involved in childbirth, and this isn't a childbirth education class, so we don't need to go into that. But how we relate to anything changes the nature of the relationship. So if there's always this, pure association with difficulty and the unexpected, difficulty, even pain, as bad or frightening, that is how we will experience it. And in the face of things that are frightening, or where there is a perception that this is a bad thing or something that I must endure, there's going to be a hardening and a stiffening of the body. There's going to be a hardening and a stiffening of the mind. There's going to be a hardening and a stiffening of our emotional capacity and even spiritual awareness. It's like everything gets compressed into that tiny fight-flight animal body. The prefrontal cortex turns off. There's no expansive awareness. So let me flesh out this analogy about Kali as the force of childbirth. And this is from Sally Kempton, who's a wonderful, wonderful teacher on the goddess. Let's take a step back to her name. Kali. Kala means time. Kali is the feminine expression of time. So anytime we're talking about the feminine, it is implied that there's a nourishing, life-giving, creative aspect to it. Kali as time, deep time, the inevitability of time. With pregnancy and childbirth, it is nothing if not a lesson in patience and inevitability. As a pregnant person right now, I can tell you, there's nothing I can do to speed this up. There's nothing I can do to move it along. There are days when I feel so frustrated and limited by this process. And at the same time, it is one of the most deeply transformational things I know I will ever experience. Part of that transformation comes from my own awareness around my own frustration and my own need to feel like I'm in control, and this fixation on why is this happening to me, right? It's like the ultimate experience of being human. I'm so aware of my flesh. I'm so aware of my mortality. I'm so aware of my powerlessness, and also my innate biological power, my spiritual power, my emotional capacity, my physical capacity. I mean, give me a break. This is a feat. And so, as beings who are just sometimes trying to get through the day, a relationship with Kali and a reverent relationship with Kali is such a healing means of approaching our frustration, our struggle, our feeling of powerlessness, and harnessing the nature of life, which is time. It's one of the things that defines human existence most completely. Time, inevitability, as well as just, you can't force a flower to open. You can't make it nighttime when it's day. You have to be here. You have to be in the process of your humanity unfolding, your consciousness unfolding. There is another saying that I really love related to working with Kali energy, and that is, only those who are unwilling to see the truth find her terrifying. Unwilling to see the truth about ourselves, perhaps, about a situation, about another person, about the origin of our fear. Kali, as an expression of life force, She is considered the great mother, the mother of all mothers. There is a supreme and primal energy about her at the same time. She's always depicted as dark, so either blue skin or black skin. Dark, the dark goddess, she's often called. And there's an element of Kali that is this kind of, our primal origins, just emerging from the silence, the void, into being, into conscious awareness. Another word in yoga, in Sanskrit, is Maya, which is illusion. It's kind of the density of our human nature, trying to grasp everything and only trusting what we can get our hands on and sink our teeth into, is also this kind of veil that keeps us from seeing clearly. And sometimes Kali's energy is like a bolt of lightning, right? This immediate, sudden, shocking, bright flash in the darkness where we realize, oh my God, there's something coming. I didn't see it coming.